This video is narrated. If you prefer the video with subtitles only, please click on the link in the description box below. November 11, 2017. Maastricht-Aachen Airport, Limburg, the Netherlands. Saudia cargo flight 916 is preparing for a flight to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. In command is a 63-year-old captain with 18,550 hours of flying time. The co-pilot is a 42-year-old first officer with 4,462 hours of flying time. Also on board is a technician and a loadmaster. Only the 4 crew members are on board. The plane is a 15-year-old Boeing 747-400 extended range freighter. Flight 916 taxis into runway 21. The first officer calls out, "Set thrust." The captain replies, "Take off." The captain notices the aircraft yawing to the right. He attempts to correct the deviation using nose-wheel steering and left rudder. He then applies the left brake pedal. The first officer calls out, "Off, abort, abort, abort." The captain concludes that the aircraft is uncontrollable. He decides to abort the takeoff. Saudia cargo flight 916 suffers a runway excursion at Maastricht-Aachen Airport. During the takeoff, the captain was flying the plane while the first officer was monitoring the instruments. 4 seconds after the autothrottle was engaged, at the ground speed of 30 knots, a loud bang was heard and the N1 of the number 4 engine dropped to around 20%. According to the captain, he did not hear the bang because he was wearing an active noise-canceling headset over both ears, and that because the noise originated on the right side of the aircraft. Unable to hear the bang, the captain could not understand why the aircraft was suddenly yawing to the right. This triggered the natural response of trying to counter the yaw by steering to the left by means of nose-wheel rudder pedal steering. As the captain was initially applying right rudder, it took some time before he could switch to the left rudder pedal once the yawing had occurred. The captain also stated that he had used the nose-wheel steering tiller to steer the aircraft to the left. By design, the tiller and the rudder pedals both use the same actuators on the nose wheel. The tiller input overrides control inputs by the rudder pedals. Steering input from the rudder pedals is limited as they are unable to turn the nose wheel by more than 7 degrees. This prevents nose wheel skidding during the takeoff roll. According to the manuals, the use of the tiller during a takeoff roll should be avoided. If the nose wheel is turned more than 7 degrees, this increases the risk of the nose wheel skidding, which makes steering less effective. Therefore, the rudder pedal should be used to steer the aircraft down the center line of the runway. As stated by the captain, he had used both rudder pedals and nose-wheel steering. When it became clear that the nose-wheel steering was not sufficient, the captain then applied brake pressure. This occurred 3 seconds after the engine failure. According to the flight data recorder, initially, both main gear brakes were used. However, the braking of the right-hand gear decreased. Although the aircraft had initially been heading a little to the left, it subsequently experienced an increased deviation to the right. As takeoff power was still engaged, the combined effect of the nose-wheel steering and differential braking was insufficient to counteract the yaw to the right. According to the flight data recorder, steering to the left occurred shortly after the engine failure. While the captain was holding the tiller with his left hand, he had most probably moved his right hand from the thrust levers to the control wheel. The captain was under the impression that he had retarded the thrust levers almost immediately after noticing the deviation. However, the cockpit voice recorder and flight recorder data indicated that thrust was idled approximately 8 seconds after the N1 drop of the number 4 engine. This means that the aircraft was under asymmetric thrust for 8 seconds. The cause of the loss of the number 4 engine was not investigated in depth. This was because a contained single engine failure does not meet the criteria for an accident or serious incident. However, the high exhaust gas temperature, or EGT, a low stabilized core engine speed of around 79% and falling, plus the drop in the number 4 engine's N1 or fan speed following the bang are all evidence of a compressor stall. The aircraft, Tango Charlie, Alpha Charlie Romeo, was repaired and returned to service. The Boeing 747 was returned from lease to ACT Airlines on June 9, 2018. Tango Charlie Alpha Charlie Romeo is still in active service as of November 2022.